Wasabi gangsters, Darth Revan lightsaber here, ready to go. All right. Anyways, I wanted to thank you guys so much for tuning in weekly. I really appreciate it. Following along on my reading journey. I love following along with yours. So please leave in the comments down below what you're currently reading. Let me know some recommendations you may have outside of my traditional genres. If you're tuning in and maybe sci-fi, fantasy, and historical fiction isn't your thing, throw a thriller down there, throw a mystery down there, throw some horror down there. Whatever you like, whatever stories drive you, that's what I want to hear about. Excuse me. So I'm going to get into my weekly update and talk about what I finished reading. What I finished reading was Midnight Tides by Steven Erikson. Now, wow, what a book. The scope of character that he dives into. So this one takes place, I think, prior to book 4 chronologically. And it's kind of Trollsingar telling his story about what happens in House of Chains. If you aren't reading Malazan, it's okay. I won't get into spoilers here. I'll just say that his themes, Steven Erikson's themes of compassion, shine through, I think, in this book more than they have in any of the other ones I've seen so far, which sounds crazy because he does such a good job of doing it in the other ones. This one, I guess it's done more blatantly, perhaps. It talks about servitude and the self-fulfillment through servitude and indebtedness and personal indebtedness and grief. And there are so many themes in this book. I mean, it's so many words. How do you not fit so many themes? It was absolutely phenomenal. It hit so many emotional notes for me. And Steven Erikson does such a good job of all of his books. The first 70% perfectly sets up the back 30%. And then all the tie-ins that you slowly figure out. And now again, let me just say, I don't always know where I am in this world. So I try to ground myself by using the glossary and going through all of the names of places and getting ideas of what they are, because it's not only is it a unique fantasy world where everything's different, it's unique in that the regions have different names for everything for the most part. And in this book, he takes us to a region we haven't been to before. And we learn a lot of new phrases and things and what they mean. And Cahill and I'm probably saying that wrong. Cahill and Bug, that duo is the best duo I've read in fantasy so far. If you have other duos that you've read that are hilarious, if you've read Midnight Tides, you know what I'm talking about, please leave them down below. If you haven't, just your favorite, humor-filled duo in a book, please, or in any, medium of story. But yes, this book was absolutely phenomenal. I want to get into Malazan. I want to stay in the Malazan world. That's my problem, is when I read these books, I want to binge through them. But I also know that I need time to process everything that I just read. There are, again, every one of these books so far has emotionally hit a chord for me, with the exception, I think, of Gardens of the Moon, which I think back on a reread, it will hit those notes. There's some stuff with Tattersail in that book, I think, that strike me, and Piran. So, yes, every book so far, his prose is able to pull it out of me. Next up on this read will be, on my Malazan read will be Night of Knives. I'm going to follow the release order that A Critical Dragon, if you guys haven't watched his videos, I think him and Dr. Phillip Chase do a lot of great discussions, spoiler and non-spoiler, of Malazan that have helped me along my journey. So I have to credit them both. And of course, Mike's book reviews and Matt's fantasy book reviews. They've really helped me so far along my journey of Malazan in terms of just understanding. And then StoryTube just posted a video I have to go watch about spoilers of this book, because it always helps me to comprehend watching recaps of spoiler-filled recaps of what happened in these books, just so I can be like, oh yeah, that happened. And it helps my brain put things together, which really helps me comprehend Malazan and the world as a whole as we go, and the characters, because you're introduced to so many characters in these books. All right, let me move on. I'm gonna stop talking about. So that was what I finished reading. Okay, what I'm still currently reading. I got a couple volumes more into Old Man Logan and Wolverine. So far, so good. We have. Wow, I cannot remember his name. Hawkeye. I was gonna say Deadeye. Hawkeye. I think Deadeye is like an enemy in Daredevil. And so we have Hawkeye and Post-Apocalypse, Logan, pacifist. It is so cool. It is so cool to read this kind of like, I love the film Logan, and I guess the theme so far and the darkness of it is there. The world as a whole is very different in the movie than as it is in here, which I think I was warned about in Talking Stories video about comics, but I was really motivated to pick this up, and I'm really excited. I think the Berserker comics, not to be confused with Berserk, the Keanu Reeves character, Berserker, his comics, they're coming out with a hardcover. I might get that because I want to binge that going into the Book of Elsewhere. So I'm currently reading that. I am a little yays through volume 3 of Berserk. So far, I finished, I think, 2 or 3 volumes of this one so far. We're kind of through the Casca stuff right now, and we're getting to survival. And it is so freaking sick. The artwork, I mean, just the story as a whole is kind of coming together. You're learning more about Casca, learning more about Gus and their relationship as it develops. And I say relationship loosely. I guess it's more in reference to their dynamic between the two of them, and seeing how that's growing and the things that they're connecting on. This is a fantastic read. I'm so stoked that I found this. Like, I don't know who motivated me to read it so much as I just like had heard, I think it was somebody from work actually, told me to pick this up. And in my time in the military, manga, anime, all that, I like, it was a medium of story that honestly I'd been like, not turned off to, but never open to exploring. And then I think my time in the military and seeing people talk about this stuff really helped me kind of develop into it. I started with Vinland Saga as far as the anime, and then doing Attack on Titan right now as well, very slowly moving through it. But this has been probably my favorite story as far as through this medium of the physical book. I'm loving it so far. And then I'm also currently reading The Failures. I'm through part 1 here, about 150 pages in. We got introduced to the Lost Boys, which is a new thing. I like how they introduce the perspectives in this book. I'm not going to talk too much about this just yet because I'm still wrapping my brain around it. The perspectives that you're seeing are all, you can tell there's going to be a pretty big convergence, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it unwinds and the unraveling the mystery that Mr. Benjamin Liar has laid out for us as we go. And then I haven't made it much further in Empire of the Vampire. Malazan really took up most of my reading time, but I am still 30% done with this. I will try to finish this month as we kind of stopped reading it. Well, we stopped reading it as a buddy read, my girlfriend and I, so I'm going to be just taking it on my own. For no fault of just like, she has other books she wants to read that she prioritizes, which is totally fine. This is definitely more my wheelhouse. So I'm going to be finishing this. It's a matter of where I fit it in with all my reads this month. I will probably try to just stick with a certain amount of chapters per day. And again, they're really easily digestible, but I kind of miss being in this world, having stepped away and been in Malazan for so long. I'm really looking forward to getting back to Empire of the Vampire. So that is what I'm currently reading. Now, I'm going to talk about September's TBR. And we're going to go in order, and then we're going to go talk about a book haul, which you're going to see 2 books a mini book haul that I picked up this week to get into my September TBR. So we're going to start with, we already got the bookmark. We already got the sword bookmark. Look at this thing. Hold on. My sister got me this for my birthday, I think. Look at that puppy. Right? Cool. So I already got the sword bookmark in the way of Edan, which means it's happening first. I think as I finish up The Failures, I will probably be diving into this a little bit in the interim, and then I will go full-fledged into this, try and finish this before probably the 10th of September. I can't say for sure. I just don't know. I give time to reading every day. It's just a matter of how invested I get. I'm really looking forward to finish it. I could probably finish it sooner than the 10th. It's just a matter of my reading time and how long it takes me to finish The Failures. So look at this beautiful copy, by the way. This is like, I love the feel of like, of course I'm thinking about this stuff all the time. Just the feel of the cover, the spine of the cover, the simplicity of it, and just the stained glass. Like, it's so unique. Dr. Phillip Chase, if you guys probably know his channel. Go check him out if you don't. I'm going to be talking about him later as well in my writing portion. But yes, I'm really excited to get into this trilogy. I think that it's going to be right in my wheelhouse in terms of the dark stuff that I've been reading lately, including Malazan and how deep I was in that world for the last like 10 days. I'm really excited to get to some like a modern twist on classic fantasy, and this is in that wheelhouse. So it's gonna hopefully lift my spirits up just a little bit, even though I've heard there's some darker themes that are explored. And I'm just very excited to pick this up and get into it. And then following that, we're going to go to a bit thicker of a read in Of War and Ruin, which will primarily be on my Kindle. Actually, it'll only be on my Kindle. I'm going to jump between Way of Edan to my Kindle. I have it on Kindle Unlimited and the physical copy, simply because I like reading at night with the Kindle. This will primarily be on Kindle, Of War and Ruin. I have all the other physical hardcovers. I'm delaying buying the next one simply because the space that we have here, even though you're going to see like the books I got this month later, I just keep doing it. I can't help it. What can I say? So I'm really excited to get into Of War and Ruin. I hear that this is I think it's already the best one so far, which makes sense. I mean, it's one of the more recent reads, of course, minus the novellas. That said, I really did love The Exile. I loved The Fall. The novellas I loved so far more as a whole than I did, I think, of Darkness and Light and of Blood and Fire. That said, the way this story's weaved, including the novellas, is so intriguing, and I'm excited to see where it's going. I think this one, we're getting a little bit more of Dane. The reveal at the end of Darkness and Light has got me itching to pick this up. I know John from Talking Story and all, in a group of Christopher Navo, Dr. Phillip Chase, and Mike's Book Reviews, they do a little conversation of these books. So I've been following along with that, having read up until Of War and Ruin, and now that they're reading it, I'm like, okay, I might as well. And I'm looking forward to it. It's nice when you can hijack somebody's TBR and they just take that responsibility off of your head. It's so nice. I'm like, want to read all these books. I'll read what they're reading. So I'm reading Of War and Ruin. I'm really excited to get back into Ryan Cahill's world of The Bound and the Broken, and get some Dragon Rider fantasy in. Following that, I will be getting into the second part of the duology, Sundered Moon. Look at this cover, by the way. Absolutely phenomenal. This one will also be a jump between Kindle Unlimited and hard copy. These are both, actually. Let me show you both of these puppies. Just look at, I had them here ready to go. Look at these. Andrew Molesky did a great job on these covers. I think I like this one more. And it's interesting, after having read book one, that this is all this. There's a portion in this book that goes into this kind of world. But I'm really excited to see where this one's going. I miss Otto. I miss hating Masadi's. I'm really looking forward to getting to and finish the duology and see what how this world was crafted, where this story is going. The characters deserve as much they're, again, being able to be in the head of a character and know who you're reading as you're through the first page, I think is a great feat as an author, as great a feat as an author can have, especially when you have a multi-POV story. And he does a really good job of doing that in Riven Earth, and I'm excited to see how he expands upon that in Sundered Moon. So that is going to be the three primary reads that I get into. I will also be picking up, where did I just put my Kindle? Oh, narrow. Wow, it's under, put it under Mercy of the Gods. I'm going to be getting into Royal Assassin as well, as another fantasy book. It seems like these are going to be, this is pretty realistic for me. We're going to get into Royal Assassin there. I got it on the Kindle already, ready to rock. I'm really looking forward to getting back to Robin Hobb's world, and I'm reading side by side John from Talking Story on that as well. And it was one of those worlds that I got into and I didn't want to leave. Similar to Malazan, it's addicting, and I have a feeling that the Edan trilogy is going to have a similar experience with it. So, and I've heard book 2 in the Edan trilogy takes a spin on the second book in a trilogy. So I'm really looking forward to the ending of that. So again, it's there's so many books. Starting series 2, that's the thing, is I want to finish all of them, and then there's so many other series. It's crazy. So yeah, that will be my 4 primary reads. We have The Way of Edan, then we have, what did I just say? Oh wow. Oh, we have The Way of Edan, we have War and Ruin, and then we have Sundered Moon, and that will be my reads going into September with Royal Assassin. And if I have time, I will read Mercy of the Gods, which I said I was going to pick up, I think, 2 weeks ago. and then Malazan caught me and everything changed. So as far as a science fiction read this coming month, this would be my pick. I really want to get into this. It's a new release. I'm sure you guys have seen enough people talk about it so far. I've heard mixed things, which is partly also one of the reasons why I've delayed, although I'm still excited to get into it. I really want to enjoy, for me, story is about, I'm able to discern between enjoying a story and the little things that can bug me as I go along the way. It's like my enjoyment of a story is purely through experiencing what the author was putting out when they were writing it. And for me, it's important, I think, especially, I'm going to get into my writing later, so I don't want you guys to think that this is me talking about that, like off of that, but talking about how I write and then how I read, I think it's very important to read. Like one of the biggest pieces of advice I got when I was getting into writing was read a lot. You know, if you're going to write a lot, read a lot and experience, you know, as many stories as you can. And I think it's easy to be critical of things as a writer, but like I'm so new to this that also, even as I think I go along, I'm going to be just enjoying the story for what they are, which is how I absorb reading the best, I think, and I also get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I still am getting a lot of fervent enjoyment out of reading, even though I am writing. And I try to not be critical. It's not that I even have to try. I just am purely enjoying the story for what they are and what the author was doing when they were developing the story. And so when I get into Mercy of the Gods, I'm really looking forward to see kind of like a more hard sci-fi story. I haven't read James S.A. Corey, so this will be a new author that I'm diving into as well. If I have time, I will be on audio, probably finishing All the Pretty Horses. Well, I will have time for the audio. I had the physical copy because I was like, I'll just read it, and I think I'm just going to end up doing this on audio. The narrator's great. I'm 80% of the way through Forgetting Moon also, by the way. I should be finishing that up. Again, audio is one of those things that I try to do every day. I go on these morning walks this week. The schedule's been a little wonky with work, so I haven't been going on my morning walks as frequently. So that is something that I will be finishing up, the Forgetting Moon on audio, 80% of the way through for Mr. Brian Lee Durfee and the greatest show on the internet. And then I'm going to talk about my book haul, which I think I was in the middle of as I was going through all of that. I picked up The Way of the Damned. I picked up Sundered Moon. I picked up the 10,000 as recommended by somebody in the comments, which is a story of ancient Greece. Because of my like for Gates of Fire, this was referred to for me to read. I love historical fiction. I love Gates of Fire. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. This is one I'll probably squeeze in. Your guys' recommendations, I usually put it in my Amazon cart and then save for later just so I have a list of them going. Simply for me to be able to get to at some point. I want to. It's a matter of like, okay, this month I'm feeling like doing this. This month I'm feeling like doing that. I'm very much a feel guy, and I feel like getting a lot of independently published works in this month. It's just one of those months. And of course, Royal Assassin. And then I picked up House of Suns by Alistair Reynolds. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. This was also referred to from the comments. And I'm really looking forward to getting into this. I don't know anything about it, but a thrilling, mind-boggling adventure in a sci-fi world sounds great to me. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. A lot of sun stuff and a lot of moon stuff, Sundered Moon. And I say a lot of sun stuff because I also picked up The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway, A Farewell to Arms, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. This little box set I got, right? It's kind of sick. I'll probably try and do The Sun Also Rises this month, if I have time. That's what that puppy looks like. Something about bullfighting in Spain. So I was like, okay, perfect. Sounds great to me. I'm going to do this after. We'll put that back after. So anyways, guys, that is it for me talking about reading. Now I'm going to probably try and do a short portion on writing. So if you guys are here for the reading again, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you like hanging out on the weekly for these updates, and then leave in the comments below what you're currently reading and some recommendations. That'd be sweet. But now I'm gonna move into writing, so if you guys wanna go away, thanks for coming. I am up to 117,500 words in book 2 right now. Book 1 is still being looked at by beta and alpha readers. I'll say alpha readers. I think this is a point where I'm going to be giving it off to a developmental editor after going through one more time of the book 1 manuscript. Again, the goal is to finish book 2's goal word count, I call it. you just kind of have an idea going in, like how long it's going to take to tell the story after having written the first book. So my goals, I'm purely set at 180,000, and anywhere above is, I mean, it's fine. So based on that timeline, I should be done about early December with book 2, maybe before. And I'm about 60% of the way through right now. There was a scene last week I was talking about that I had been thinking about since I started the books, so started writing these books that I really wanted to get into, and I finally wrote it, and it was awesome. And now I'm reluctantly getting into another scene because you fall in love with these characters, and you're just like, oh, you just know where it's going. And I don't want to say anymore, even though you guys have no idea what I'm talking about in terms of the story, which is so funny. I'm just going to leave it at that. I have, seeing through these characters' eyes has been such a journey, and sometimes, people die, and I am at a point where I have to write a scene that I just have not been looking forward to writing, because this has been one of the more enjoyable voices through my writing experience that I've experienced. So I'm getting into that probably this coming week. On this session, I will probably be getting to that scene. And if not, it'll be the following week. And it is going to be a rough one for me. That's for sure. Wow, that's crazy. In terms of publishing and talking about that, I'm meeting with the developmental editor. I'm going to keep his name out of these videos for now. I will probably get into that. I'll ask their permission first and see if they want me to mention it at all, to tie their name to my work, because who knows? They haven't read it yet, so it's not fair for me to say that. And maybe they don't end up not wanting to work with me because what I'm writing sucks. Who knows? You never know. Back to Dr. Phillip Chase, The Way of Edan. He did a video on independent publishing that was super, super insightful. I will link it down below. I'll link his channel down below if you guys don't know. And if you haven't seen this video from him, it's about a 40-minute discussion about his experience and things that he's gone through during his journey, his artist journey, his releasing of the trilogy, the Edan trilogy. And it's so cool to hear just the different avenues and the things that you have to factor in when you're working on a project like this. And seeing, again, it is a passion project that she talks about. And so seeing that things that he probably would have done differently, things that he's happy he did, it's just very cool to see. So I'm going to leave that down below for anybody, because if you're watching these writing portions, I imagine either you are writing or maybe you're just curious as to what I'm into and what I'm getting into. But that video it was a great, insightful look into how he did it, and I'm looking forward to just seeing his journey more and how he's developing, because I think he's writing a sequel for these books. And as I get into the trilogy, I'm sure I'm going to get addicted to it. It's just the way it's my nature. So please, go show your support for him. Watch those videos. Again, I know you already probably do. But yeah, that's going to be my writing update for this week. On the cover front, that starts in October. So you guys will be hearing more about that as we go. Boom. Ta-da. 22 minutes. Holy Hannah. These are getting longer. That's wild. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked hanging out. And yeah, let's have discussions down below, because I think talking about story is one of the, in any medium, whatever you like, shows, movies, books, anything. It's fun. It's really fun for me. I'll see you guys next week.